Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to session one of the Advent of Calamity mini campaigns that we're doing here. I'm joined by a couple new faces that, if you've watched the stream, you'll remember, and a couple old faces that, if you watched the stream, you'll remember, and a couple new faces um, that are joining us for the first time. So I'm going to go around and have everybody introduce themselves. Just say, a couple words. Doesn't have to be anything long. The most important thing, probably your name. I'll go first. I'm Andrew. I host this stream, run everything with the help of Jack, who makes all of the overlays over here. This is basically my main hobby and the thing that I do the most. But I'm into most nerdy things. Me and Jack used to do a podcast, which we always talk about doing again. Yeah.
Do we?
Sometimes.
What?
Sometimes.
I've never
with myself.
This conversation. Okay. That's all right.
Charlie, why don't you go ahead, go second?
Hi, I'm Charlie. I usually play Silverin, but tonight I will not be playing Silverin.
Good, short and sweet. Jack, why don't you go?
Hello, I'm Jack. Andrew did most of the interesting things about my introduction already, but I normally play a bard, and this time I'm not doing that. But I'm very excited to play with all of the new people and get to do something that's a little bit less having to look after an entire group of idiots.
Oh, you have high hopes, don't you? I'm also excited to play with these folks, but I'm also trying to mute before I cough, so.
Right, I'm going to roll d6 for the next one, so I don't have to worry about who I'm picking. Do left or right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 3. Kristen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Sure, I am Kristen. I don't normally play someone else, so I will not be playing someone new for this game.
New to you. That's good. We got 2, so that's going to be Bubba.
Well, hi, I'm Bubba. This is my first time with this group, and I'll be playing a Paladin for the first time, so let's have a good time, and that's all I have to say.
Good job. That's the best one yet. No offense to everybody else. David, why don't you go ahead?
Hey, I'm David. I'm also new to this group. Really excited to play with everybody here, and I'll be playing the resident wizard. Let's get it.
Okay. With that said, go ahead and set the stage. So you guys have all received word through a letter or messenger that the Ashen Coast League, the Ashen League, was looking to hire you for some job. You maybe know a little bit about it, you maybe don't know very much about it at all, but regardless, you've all been told that you should go to the Ashway Mythril Tavern. It's a very famous tavern in the city of Orlis at the very western edge of the continent. You all arrive not after too long. Not long after one another. Kind of finding a spot somewhere. In the back, this tavern is known for its music. So there's always somebody about to start playing or having just finished playing or actively playing. So for having a conversation, you kind of find somewhere near the back, near the second balcony. A little bit farther away from all that. You've been told that you're going to be meeting someone by the name of Jaylene. Anybody who would like to can roll me a read check to know a little bit more about this.
Is this a person that we may have had dealings with? Because
it's certainly possible.
I certainly haven't.
It would be unusual. Oh wow, 3, 13.
I'm suddenly feeling how Will does. Deliberately design a character who has connections with lots of people and then
And then roll really
don't.
poorly.
I never roll badly. So,
Rudy
true.
and sorry, I never. Is it Adoren or Adoren?
Adoren.
Adoren. Okay, Rudy and Adoren. The two of you have heard of Jaylene before. Maybe you've even worked for them once or twice. Jaylene Galweir is a representative of Ashen League. They're kind of like an official. They tend to work on the council, but they're not a lord in their own right. Hold any property or anything like that. You do know that they're fairly wealthy, however, and that they're incredibly well connected. As all of you were kind of told to be expected, you all are sitting around a table waiting for Jaylene to show up, listening to some very nice and pleasant music. What's going on down below you? Some of you have worked together before. Some of you have worked with one person in the group, but not another person. So you're all kind of just waiting. A couple of you are kind of catching up. I want to just go around the horn real quick. You've introduced yourself. Now introduce your character. Tell us what they look like. Sitting at one end of the table is Charlie's character. If you would like to introduce Dell.
You say that as if I have a history of short and poor introductions. So, Dell'ansira Midasandal is sitting in the corner. It's the kind of the pose that you would expect of someone slightly shady, but instead of being dressed in dark clothing, he is dressed in very light, almost a cream golden robes, very flowing. They obscure most of his body, and there's threads throughout and pieces of fabric that are pale blue, pale lavender. And he is almost completely hidden from sight. There's a veil brought up across his face. But despite that, he manages a very welcoming posture. Still sitting like right beside him, not placed on out of the way, and he's even as he's sitting, he's almost leaning slightly on a quarterstaff, and he has nothing else really with him. If he has it, it's hidden away in his robes. But unlike most adventurers, he is distinctively not carrying a pack.
A somewhat unusual sight this far away from the Elcar desert, although certainly not unheard of. You're probably one of the only Elcar in the room tonight. Sitting next to them is probably about as equally a rare of a sight. Rudy, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Rudy is probably one of the larger patrons in this tavern right now. They are a Garrik, so a large armadillo person dressed in a variety of animal skins, hand knits, all looking lovingly made, lovingly worn. They're also carrying just about every other possession that they could, which, because they are very large, is a lot. And I'll keep that short for now.
All right. Sitting next to them is probably, well, actually not the shortest figure, but probably the youngest figure in the room, Anya.
Yeah, Anya is on the surface quite an attractive looking 20-something blonde woman with like very piercing blue eyes. If you were looking from across the room, it might be a little bit out of place for Anya to be sitting with this group of clear adventurers, because she seems to be wearing just like not thick layers, but like a lot of layers, and isn't carrying anything at all. But those of you around the table can see that the layers are actually extremely thinly stitched, thinly tanned leathers of different like mythical beasts. They're threaded together into this like patchwork long shirt that hangs far over her hips with golden thread. And you've probably all at different times seen like that she carries guns on her hips. Rudy, I think in particular, like maybe not everybody knows that she has 4 guns yet, but you've definitely seen all of her guns at various recent points. She's probably she's normally very like quiet and withdrawn from conversation unless it's interesting, but at this point it's probably leaning across the table animatedly talking about some kind of magic that she has no comprehension of but knows that other people at the table are interested in, and occasionally calls on Rudy to like fill in a detail that she is forgetting.
Sitting next to Anya while this conversation is going on is Felipe, who is, I believe, the person.
Yeah, Felipe is certainly gnomish predominantly, although there seems to be some other things mixed in there. He's tall for a gnome and proportions a lot more lithe and graceful. You can see he's kind of got a patchwork of well-worn and highly tanned, but thick leathers sort of slung about his body in different key positions. But beneath that, he's wearing just a simple shirt and a nice embroidered jacket, and he's got a ring hanging on a leather cord around his neck, along with a short hafted teak spear topped with a curved blade, sort of just like resting on the table next to him within reach at all times. And yeah, he's sitting very properly. His posture is very erect and straight. There seems to not be a muscle out of place in his body, and he's like wearing normal clothes and all that. But if you could take a look at the more fitted parts, you can see that he's just all ropey muscle like a dancer. And he's sort of not relaxing. It appears that he's not relaxing. It appears he's almost sitting at military rest, but he seems very at ease, and he's sort of just thumbing through a book that he has affixed to his left bracer on the spine, kind of like the fantasy version of a Pip-Boy. And he's just kind of chilling there.
Right. Finally, sitting at the other end of this round booth is the most colorful member of the party. We have Adoren.
Yes. So Adoren is this sort of Amazonian build like figure, not in terms of physicality, just like limbs and long limbs, long legs, and just like you said, very colorful like appearance. He has nearly like cloud-like light pink hair and like almost velvety undergarments that are covered in heart-shaped armor pieces with beads around them, and the look in his eyes is just full of like pink and life and love, and he just looks like he's not there. Like he's participating in the conversation, but every single word he says feels like he's still somewhere in like a la la land. And he's just vibing.
Breaking you for just a moment from this reverie, all of you, the conversation kind of slows to a halt. A figure approaches the table, who is not the waiter who has been serving you thus far. All of you see Jaylee and Gal wearing kind of simple looking, but clearly quite wealthy clothing. Like they're dressed in silks and stuff. It's just not in a very fancy cut. There's not a lot of jewelry or embroidery or anything like that. They've got a pair of spectacles on. They're a human woman, probably in their early 40s, maybe late 30s. And they approach the table on Dell's side, saying, "If you don't mind, could you scoot over?"
Dell he inclines his head, and as he sweeps to the side, for a moment, the shape of his robes kind of reveal that he is a very, very narrow-bodied person. But then he settles back into place, much closer to, I think you said, Anya now. Do join us.
Thank you. Well, then, I have very many things to attend to. I apologize for my tardiness. Hope you haven't been waiting too long. Anything that you order tonight will be paid for by me. By the League, I suppose.
We're off to a good start.
Well, I'm just curious. Have you noticed the trouble up on the Ash Mount plate? And all of you do know a little bit of like the rumor that the volcano nearby the Ash Mount has been spewing forth an unseasonable amount of ash and has been very active. There's even been a couple quakes been felt down in the city. But if you'd like to know a bit more about that, you could make me an insight or a persuasion check to have kind of learned this information over time, just from rumors and that.
Might that also be a survival check from having directly observed? It's
I
slightly
would
different
let you make
information
an
from it.
Arcana check, but not a survival check.
Got it.
Ooh, I'd love to switch mine for Arcana if that's okay. Although I did already roll Insight.
That's fine. You will just swap the bonuses. So what would the total be?
19.
19. Right. Well, in that case, everybody also knows that there have been. You need at least a 17, and everybody got that. It was supposed to be hard, but you all rolled pretty well. Everybody has heard rumors that the Ashen League had contacted a number of divination specialists to look into this, and that every vision that they've received has had portents of great doom, calamity, and disaster. That's kind of what you think of immediately as Jaylene mentioned this.
I think Anya like looks to Rudy and says, "It's the divination that we heard about."
Yeah. We heard about the divination. I don't know if we proper heard about what all they were saying.
I remember that they said it was bad, but I don't remember more than that.
Details are always nice.
I think they both expectantly look for more information from Jaylene.
You're very well informed. Yes, we have contacted some divination wizards. The shrine to Mira that sits at the edge of the volcano, occupants, the adherents, have been missing for some time now, and every time that we have tried to scry upon them, blocked by some magic, which has shown only visions of great face breathed in flame. We are looking for your group to perhaps go and investigate the volcano. Find the shrine, preferably find the acolytes, whether they be still with us or not. If you can, bring their bodies back to the city. If there is more going on that you are aware of, people snooping about, we'd also like you to take care of them. Deal with this matter in a swift as possible.
Can you elaborate on that last point? Do you expect other investigators to be attending this mystery?
No, but certainly we don't believe that the acolytes simply disappeared of their own accord. We can only assume that someone or something has done something. So the Ashmount might be dangerous. These people live there years at a time. Certainly, not all of them would have perished at once. As far as I know, there are typically 5 adherents living in the shrine at any time.
There perhaps have there been sightings of any other living beings aside from the 5 inheritance that you have listed?
Not that we're aware of. The shrine is in somewhat infrequent contact outside world. Not many people go up to the rim of the volcano. That would be something that I would expect you to figure out for me.
And if I may ask, when was the last known contact with these inhabitants?
Good question. It was about 3 days ago.
Do these
yes.
do these acolytes report to the League? Are they under your purview?
Oh no, they come into contact with the Temple of Mira here in the city every so often. They are sent more supplies about once a month. A courier will make the trip all the way up to the mountain. They cannot grow their own food up there, of course. Supplied through the temple. They contacted the League about this. Of course, I am now here. You can, as you're all looking at and talking with Jillian as well, you can tell that Jillian is like kind of concerned about this, but to her, this is like just, another thing that she kind of wants to get this over. And she makes that clear on her face. She's not trying to hide it at all.
Does the Temple of Mira here in the city, did they mention when they last sent supplies?
Yes, that would have been about 2 weeks ago. As far as they were aware, the courier made it and returned without issue. So we can only assume that the acolytes have gone missing within the past few days. Around the time that the issue volcano began.
And this last time you spoke to them, there was no sign of what could be the problem exactly?
As far as I've been told by the priests of Mira, nothing seemed purely out of place from their sending spells. So it's possible with 5 words that they could not elaborate on small issues that could have been going on.
Dell is going to turn towards the rest of the table, and just above the top of the veil that he's wearing below his hood, you can see his eyebrows raised, waiting for further questions.
If you have nothing else to ask, begin discussion of payment. 10,000 gold for party arrayed here. Double that should you encounter and dispose of whatever is causing the disturbance within the volcano. The priests of the Temple of Mira have also offered a, shall we say, bounty of 1,000 gold for recovering each acolyte's body or living person, should you be able to do it.
Above table, DM, does that seem wildly too much?
It is a lot of money. It's not like you're all pretty powerful, pretty well known. So it's not out of the realm of reason for a job that you would be paid for, but it is clearly something that they are like, we need to like spend the money to hire actual good people on this. We think that there is a big problem.
Gotcha.
They're not buying chumps here, kind of thing. But it is a lot of money.
Gotcha.
Can
Okay.
I roll an insight check to see if I think Jaylene's for some reason withholding anything from us?
Sure.
21.
Pretty good. You're kind of reading their face, trying as hard. Like I said, they kind of feel like they're trying to get out of here. You don't think that they're holding anything back. You do detect the a slight wrinkled, a slight furrowing of the brow that to you suggests that they think that this amount of gold is unnecessary for the task. But they're just a representative, as far as you know. They probably didn't make this deal original.
For me, 2,000 gold to throw it up to the top of a volcano, and then 10,000 more to deal with a problem, and 5,000 to help with people. Seems fine. I have no further questions for Jaylene, but if anyone else does.
Well, I truly believe the best way to get started is to get started. So,
She starts to go to say something, but a band begins playing below. Actually, a pair of bards. You all would probably have been sitting here long enough to have figured out that when somebody's playing in the Ashway Mythril Music Tavern, you don't speak. It's against the rules, and you would probably be kicked out pretty quickly if you did so. Do you see Jaylene pause as kind of music pumps up, and they begin to sing a song about some of you may have heard this before. You can make a history check. They sing a lay of the days of the blight of two heroes named Balaran and Vala. Balaran was from the city of Torlis, and his tale is very popular here. Vala was in Roms when the blight occurred and died the great battle against Vorparshai and Saliel, the dark god. Balaran tried to go to their aid, but was too late and could only walk amongst the field of dead bodies as the waters began to rise and the Gulf of Rams was formed in the aftermath. They were never able to find Vala's body and continued for the rest of their life to make it their mission to try to find them. Or, barring that, some way to resurrect them back. Though later on, it was revealed that most of the heroes who died in this fight had their souls taken, and normal resurrection magic could not bring them back. Eventually, Balaran went missing and was never seen again. That song slowly begins to finish as Jaylene immediately, as soon as the song ends, goes in and says, "Very well then, we have one who has agreed to do this. What about the rest of you? We would like the packaged group, awesome. But if only 4 of you think you want to go and capable enough, that's fine with us."
Dell'ansira is just going to, I am all aboard, as I've heard it said. And he's very carefully testing out new slang from a region that he is not familiar with. But it's also not to this region either. It has nothing to do with this region either.
Oh, Bard, excellent. Well then,
I would say as long as we're doing right by the people here, and these people truly do care about their god Mira, say not.
I'm in. Almost.
good.
Anya
Excellent.
looks at Rudy and tries to work out which one of them hasn't said yes yet, and will say, yes, I will also do it in case
Hell yeah.
that was not clear.
Excellent. Well, in that case, once you're finished, you can come back here. We can organize payment. Of course, if you do manage to locate any bodies, I would suggest stopping at the temple first. That is time-sensitive issue. But I will plan to keep my eyes open for your return. Conclude our business. If there's nothing else, I have business. Good. They stand up, making room for all of you to spread back out, clicking their heels often. Upon
Sure.
sorry, go ahead.
You can continue. This isn't urgent.
All right, I was just gonna say, upon exiting, you all kind of look at each other. Now a plan starting to formulate in your head about how best to go about this.
Perhaps we ask at the temple, but I think it is reasonable for us to consider if there are 5 bodies, how are we carrying them out?
Perhaps we should consider that if there are 5 living people, we don't have to.
That would be the ideal, but worst case scenario, we must plan for. Yes?
Because we could just as easily take a cart, maybe?
Probably would
That
be
seems
best to
imperfect.
have some sort of transportation. I mean, I wouldn't want to be around a volcano who has strange activity and not have a reliable way of getting away from it.
Yes, maybe we should take
I
a
have
cart.
I have a means of doing that. It's a little macabre, but it would work. I flip through that spell book on my arm, and I flash a spell called Tensor's Floating Disc. Think of it as a mobile wheelbarrow. Um, not very graceful for the dead, but if it comes to it, we can walk them down the mountain with this.
But yes, we could talk to the Temple of Mira. I suspect they will have given all of their information already to the Ashen League. Out of character, does anyone have any armor or weapons that are not magic that they would like to get a +1 to? Because all of my stuff's magic. So.
I have a lot of not magic. as your resident out of the player handbook barbarian, I have a couple of non-magic weapons.
I will make one of them +1. Sorry, go ahead, Bubba.
I have my plate armor is the only thing that I think is my plate armor and my shield is the only thing that's not magical.
Oh, have +1 plate armor. That sounds like the best use of that.
Ooh, yay.
Over the next time we rest, I'll give the forge cleric thing. What's it called?
I'll just edit though.
Yeah.
Remind me if you.
No, I'm not going to switch it. I'm just going to. I feel like the paladin plate armor is probably the best thing to give +1 to anyway. So.
Adoren, your plate or your AC is now 21. Thanks to Anya's boost from their blessing from Cordal.
Felipe will look over at Anya as you do this and say, how long does that last?
Oh, I can do it every day. It will last till I do it on something else, probably. Anya does know how her stuff works. Jack has forgotten how that works.
Basically,
It's a
last
neat
one
trick.
day.
It's a neat
Yeah, I'm
trick.
pretty sure it's a day, and I can just re-add it over.
It's a neat trick.
Yes, the blessing of Caudal gives as she wants. And as she like gestures with her palm, you've probably all seen it before, but she does have like a black burnt symbol of Caudal on the palm of her hand.
Yeah, Cordal. Sure.
The
Amen.
god of creativity.
No, yeah, I know. You have talked about it a lot. Not in like a bitchy way. Just like you talked about it a lot. So no, I know.
It's very important.
Of course it is. Yeah, for sure. Yo, what's Mira the god of? Does anybody know?
Mira is the god of the earth, unless I am mistaken.
Volcano is a good place for a temple.
They're very good if you want to talk about the like agricultural reports of the local area. Anya has very little time for Mira clerics. It's a lot of just farmers.
Dell is just using his veil to kind of hide his chuckles, but you can still hear him like laughing at this continual exchange between the two of them.
I like to imagine that this has been going on in the road a lot, where Felipe wants to be supportive because he truly respects Anya, but it's just like the religion thing is. And it's just
And Anya is so confident in who she is that she doesn't care. Like no matter how anybody deals with it, she's just like, well, Cordell is the best god and the god of the future, so you are wrong, and I will eventually be proven right.
Yeah. I think Dell's suggestion was a fine one to me. We could make a quick stop at the temple here in the city, get some names and descriptions of these acolytes before we head out. I'm on board for that.
Has anyone here been to the Temple of Mira in this city? That is not me. No.
I believe I might have wandered over into the area when I first came here. I mean,
well, Adoren, if you would like to take the lead with talking to them, I do not get along well with the people at this temple.
Adoran's just gonna like, he hears that basically you making him like the face, and he's just gonna like prim up his appearance and just be like, I think I absolutely can. This would be my wheelhouse.
Anya smiles.
Has Anya made this issue with these clerics? Is this always been a Mira clerics thing, or is this something new?
So it's a cleric thing. Like, she's not a very good cleric, and she can like frequently talks about how good a different god is. A lot of clerics have some issue with Anya, but she also backs it up, and it's like, I think it annoys normal clerics.
As you guys are transitioning,
I do want to buy an extremely expensive bottle of wine on the way out on the Ashen Coast's money.
Okay.
Like,
you buy a nice 50, well, we'll say 100. This is a very nice tavern. You buy a nice 100 gold bottle of wine, imported from beyond the seas. In a very fine bottle with gold filigree on the label.
This is so we can celebrate when we succeed on the volcano top.
Don't you on that?
Good. I got snacks and we can share around. It'll be great.
Charlie, as you guys are making your way over towards the Temple to Cordal, could you roll me that 2d4, etc.? It's 2d4, 1d6, and 1d4.
Temple to Mira, we're going to, right? Cordal clerics like Anya. I want to be very clear, Cordal clerics do like it.
Is there a Temple to Cordal in this city?
Yeah, almost certainly. Yeah.
Everywhere they make anything is a temple to Kodal.
Yeah, and big music town, so creativity, music. Sure.
Not necessarily that type of creativity, but yes.
That instruments.
Perdal is the god of the forge.
Again, Anya's not a great cleric.
And invention more than creativity, but it does kind of.
Hey,
Invention works.
they're the same thing if you think about it in the
Okay.
way that Anya is choosing to.
So, and I'm adding these to everybody's sheet as well. So Dell has 7 healing potions, 2 greater healing potions, and 1 superior healing. So for the other 2,
Whoa.
I've added those to your sheet. Kristen rolled the best, which means that they have 2 superior healing potions. Most out of it.
I have a question about whether
sorry,
or not
David was the
Dell
same
falls over.
Yeah.
With the added
Yeah, I was
weight.
gonna.
Do those potions overload Dell?
This is what the bag of holding is for.
Oh, what? But yeah, Anya will lead everyone to the Temple of Mira. She's like very familiar with where all the temples are, but will then fade to the back of the group to let other people talk to these farmers.
Yes, because that's what they are, farmers. You
I'm
make
just
your way,
wondering.
leaving the tavern, heading through the city of Torlis. By the time you get out, it's probably around noon. So the sun is high over sky, but you have a bit of overcast from this huge tower that sits just behind the city. And when I say huge, I mean bigger than any modern skyscraper. It is absolutely of seemingly solid granite. Which, if you've been in the city, you are aware of. It is ancient home of a wizard. Made this contraption that once you enter teleports you randomly inside someone. Ignoring that for the moment, however, as most of this is, you make your way over towards the temple district in Torlis, finding yourself at one of the slightly smaller temples in this area. Although Mira is a very fundamental god to the cosmos, they don't have as many worshippers as some of the other gods. Entering into this building, you find a vast collection of kind of rough, uncut gemstones and other kinds of minerals and rocks on display. A couple people are praying off to one side, and a priest will walk up and greet you. They're a somewhat squat-looking dwarf, an ash dwarf, so they have slightly paler skin. Oh, well, how can I help you today?
Hello, yes, my name is Adoren, and I'm accompanied here by my lovely group. He just pans to the rest of them. And we have some questions about if I'm remembering correctly, the acolytes near the volcano, and generally more information about the area.
Hmm. Well, what kind of information? I suppose you are the adventurers who were hired to go up there.
Yes, that would be us.
Well, I'll tell you that last time I heard about 3 days ago, I formed a sending spell. The only reply I received was supplies good, everything operating as usual. Some more activity in the bowels of the volcano. We'll monitor. Copied it down as all the return messages.
They haven't reported anything unusual even before your last message?
Oh, just that.
Interesting. Well, in any case, what is it about the bowels of the volcano that they need to investigate?
Well, the priests of Mira monitor the volcano for potential eruptions so that we can warn the city of the movements of the great goddess, prevent unnecessary death. If possible, we also seek to appease goddess. The volcano offers insight into their mind. Everybody can make me religion checks if they would like to. Oh, I'll also accept history, although it's a little bit.
Yes. My clericiness is paying off.
First nat 1. Let's go.
Hey, someone's got to be the first one.
So that was me. Get him out now. Get him out now.
Okay, I was about to say none of you know shit.
These are great rolls.
Volcanoes should be the domain of Caudal. That's all I'm saying. They're basically a giant forge. But
Anya, yeah, you know everything this guy's saying. Sounds true. You're a worshiper, but you've heard them speak before, much to your annoyance. You also know that you don't really interact with Cordal in this way, like such base things as like watching the geographical features of a place is a little bit to you like of a roundabout way of communicating yourself to your followers. But these kinds of shrines are certainly not unusual, and it's definitely not out of the ordinary for monks, acolytes, whatever term is being used, to spend months or years in this kind of seclusion, only being checked up upon every week or so by a cleric capable of casting sending or other kinds of message magics.
Anya is working really hard, like has a hood up to just not be noticed by this dwarf. But like is murmuring in the back to Rudy that like all of that is really normal if you worship boring gods. Like sometimes you just have to watch a volcano for your entire life, and that's the way you serve.
I like the idea that Rudy sort of just steps in front of Anya to try to like block this potential interaction from happening, and goes, I know, you've told me so much, so many times.
Also, you should ask like something about the acolytes, so we know if I'm finding an acolyte versus an evil person that has killed an acolyte.
Absolutely, I was thinking the same thing. And Rudy is going to speak up, and they're going to essentially ask just that. I'm a little less interested, unfortunately, in the ways in which you interact with your gods and goddesses. What I am interested in is people and doing right by them, whether that's doing right by them in life or in death. So a description, information about them and their kin, that would be really awesome.
Yes. Anya, the one thing I forgot to mention, you would also know that this particular shrine is incredibly ancient, and that there have been shrines of some kind on the volcano for millennia, if not longer. The seemingly this head cleric here, kind of for a minute. Yes, it's a good question, Brother Garrik. There were 3 of my people dwarves up on the mountain. One human, an older fellow who's been there many years, 50 or so, he's spent off and on upon the rim of the great volcano. The last one is a younger acolyte. I believe they're a gnome, although I've never met that one.
Younger, and you have never met him. When did he join this group of yours?
Sometime in the last year, I think. He was recruited by one of the dwarves on a return trip, a vacation, as it were, in the city. I do not judge who would or would not become adherents to our faith.
When he says, "I do not judge," Dell immediately looks at him a little bit more closely, trying to decide if he does, in fact, judge.
You make an insight check.
I did.
Oh,
21.
Check us. He seems to be telling the truth, or at least he doesn't think it's particularly unusual.
Adoren's just gonna adjust his hair once again, and then he's gonna ask the dwarf, one more thing, because given the idea that, like my companion Rudy once said, you're concerned about people, and I just have to ask, does your temple have any enemies, people who happen to intrude or have been proven a problem in the past that might have be involved in whatever is happening?
Yeah, thinks for like a long moment. Only those who would worship the darker gods of this world, and perhaps such creatures as dragons. Fire dragons sometimes visit the volcano for their own purposes, although generally they've left us well enough alone.
Could the arrival of a fire drake be responsible for this unseasonable activity, in your opinion?
Perhaps, though they would have to be quite powerful indeed to upset the mountain. The volcano is not easily altered, even by a full-grown dragon. It would take a truly massive beast to cause this upset. Dell, since you were kind of doing insight, when he's like questioning about the dragon, you get the sense that like he has a thought and like almost goes to say something, but then like is like, well, whatever, it's not important. In his head, like you see this interaction.
Dell clears his throat and steps up a little closer to Adoren and speaks a little softer, a little gentler. Anything you think you might know is worth hearing, my friend. We do not mind rumors here, do we? And he kind of indicates the group, and then immediately regrets that he has in any way invited Anya into a conversation with clerics.
You can make a persuasion check if you like.
Anya is behind Rudy entirely.
And when he sees this, he gives Rudy a very grave, small nod and a discreet little thumbs up behind his robes.
Breaks his thumb.
Well, I didn't think it worth mentioning overly much, but according to some of our most ancient legends, a great beast dragon sleeps in the bowels of the volcano. Depending on who you ask, either banished there, chained, or simply hibernating. Supposedly there's older temples, more ancient structures if you go down into the volcano, but such paths are very dangerous. Oceans to resist the heat just to stand near. But such things could be done. I would be willing to lend you some such potions, like.
That'd be indeed quite helpful, sir. I don't think we've caught your name.
Oh, me? My name's Gundir. Oh, and should you find any acolytes up there, the dwarves are Varnda, Lur, Eldar. The older human's name is Valir, and I think the gnome is named Bartholomew. Bart, they call him.
Thank you.
Kundir, how long have you played this role where you communicate with these acolytes?
Decade, I believe, was when I was gained access to the necessary spells assigned to this.
And would you say that most of the people up there are like this elder human that you say has been in the role for a long time, or do they cycle out routinely?
Oh no, I would say that most people assigned to that duty only stay there for a year or so before moving on to other posts. It's not very popular, as you might imagine. Bel-Air is unusual for having stayed there for so long. Over 50 years is a long time, especially for.
Thank you.
This ancient dormant dragon that may or may not exist. Are we talking pre-blight ancient?
Oh yes, this is something of the age of myth, from the days of creation, not some newfangled magic phenomena. This is an ancient being, should it exist.
Your offer of those heat resistant potions is very generous, and I think I speak for everyone when I say we will take you up on that. Another small favor.
What?
For the blessings of Mira, I give you the boon.
What
Another small
Sonny,
favor.
What? I missed all of that.
The offer of heat potions and potions to resist the flames.
Oh.
Much appreciated. We will happily take you up on that. I had another favor to ask. That sending spell. I'm sure that's a gift from Mira, but do you happen to keep a copy of the arcane text for that somewhere? I would love to see it.
Oh no, I don't cast from texts.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Hello,
Apologies.
if we are asking about texts, where might we read up or hear about or learn more of this myth in the mountains?
You might be able to. Well, you could try the temple. Not our temple. The Temple to Alamane, the library. They were
Did
more
any of
knowledge.
and not that you are certain to know, but you seem to have known some of these men for quite the time. Did any of them happen to believe in this myth of the mountain?
I actually learned about it from Belir. He's the one who told me. So he would probably know a lot more if you could find him. Not part of our normal learning. Just something I heard.
Do you have any reliquaries here in the city? Ancient artifacts sourced from within the volcano itself that we could perhaps take a look at?
Not to my knowledge. Such powerful magics, if they do exist, might have been lost long ago, or may still be waiting for someone deep within the volcano itself, should you believe such things.
Oh, this is an easy one that perhaps we should have asked from Jung. How long does it take to hike up there from here?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, move quickly. You can get there in 2 days or so. It's a hard trek. That final day is almost entirely uphill, going from the base of the volcano to the summit.
For all the difficulties that provides, it makes one wonder why Belair might have chosen to be there for 50 years.
Kind of a weird guy. He seems to have so he says, a special connection with the volcano. Which he could be right about. I've just never seen anything of it. Oh, what?
Adoren's eyes just like light up and like, a special connection? Would you say that he perhaps has a love for this magical volcano that we've been discussing?
If Belir loves anything in this world, I would say it would be that volcano. Yes.
Oh, that's just simply marvelous. I mean, this isn't you just like Adoren was like a part of this thing, but he's hearing that someone loves something and is just like, we must do what we can to ensure that these acolytes are okay and making sure that everything's right with that volcano. So this is our mission to find all the supplies that we need in order to hike up there with. He's just now his hair is just flustering and he's just like in a mood, so he's just gonna like settle down and just look into the corner of the room.
Rudy feels a poke that's been happening for probably like 2 minutes, but like finally Anya's weak strength gets through and says, maybe you should also ask how they deliver supplies if the last hike is almost entirely vertical to a volcano.
One more question on my end. What does the supply route look like for y'all?
Oh, well, we send an acolyte about once a month with our bag of holding, stuck with food and drink. And it lasts 5 people about a month. Plus, most of the time, the Belier can create some food.
Anya pats Rudy's back to indicate thank you.
Whenever whenever he was talking about Belair this time, Dell was again staring him down because he mentioned that he taught him, and he mentioned that that in a way that he must have known him well enough, and he also mentioned that he was weird, but he still didn't give much impression on what he really thinks of him. Can I roll another insight?
Sure. I'd like to.
Yeah.
So much insight. You don't
No
know.
insight.
This old dwarf is not giving you very much. He seems. You think this is the longest conversation he's had in some time? That most people don't like talking to him because he kind of drones a little bit.
Dell's going to step back a little bit.
Can I take
here's
30?
those fire potions. I'll walk over and open up a case. A lot of case there, so. Well, there's 10 of them. Just bring any you don't use back, I suppose. So they're good for about an hour, so be aware.
Thank you. This is much appreciated. We'll put these to good use. Hopefully we won't have to, but if we do, they'll be in good hands. Can I spend 30 seconds getting as detailed of a physical description of Belier as Gundir is willing to give me?
Sure. Yeah, he's an old man in his later 60s. Completely white hair. That's usually pretty bedraggled and wild looking. Although it's very curly. Fairly bushy looking beard, also equally as curly. That's it still has some flecks of color in it, but it's mostly white. Very dark skinned, and he has a pronounced limp. He tripped and broke his leg 2 decades ago. And they healed
Felipe,
it, but it took a while to get to it, so it healed a little bit off.
Felipe will take as detailed notes as possible. Above table, I'm trying to get enough information on this guy to be able to cast Locate Creature on him when we get closer.
Okay.
So just trying to get as good of a mental picture as possible.
Yeah, he'll give you you keep asking him more and more details. He'll give you as good information
Awesome.
as he can possibly recall.
Cool.
I just want. Okay, cool. Yeah, you get enough information that you think you should be able to cast the look at that, and hone in on him specifically. Was that all?
I don't believe we have any further questions. You've been quite the help, Mr. Forgetting your name, I apologize.
Gundir.
India.
Well, okay then. Thanks for stopping by, and sincerely hope that you find them alive, if at all possible. But if you can bring their bodies back, we can have them resurrected.
Just like that.
Well,
really,
it's quite expensive, but we do try to take care of our own.
Felipe will like look at Anya for a second, and if you could read anything in his eyes, it's like, oh, maybe this religion thing isn't so bad after all. Cool. Yeah, we'll really try to get those bodies back to you. Before we head out, do you have a map of that route that the supply drops usually take? I think that would be a great boon to us to get up the mountain.
No, sorry. I can have the courier describe it to you, though.
That'll be better than nothing. I'll take it.
Normally, once we have a new courier, we have the previous one guide them, so it's more of a on the path one. And he will call over this kind of mousy looking younger human guy, maybe 17, so who will kind of describe you the route that he takes. There are parts where you do have to climb. Says, well, there might be another way, but that's the way I was shown. So I'd recommend bringing some climbing gear.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no problem. So, having seemingly got everything that you could from the Temple of Mira, what's your next stop? Or did you want to get going?
Do you think we need to get climbing gear? That is
Well, also the Temple of Alamein, I am on better terms with them. So, if you want, I could go try and find something about the mythical dragon that lives in the belly of the volcano.
I think that would be useful exercise to be sure.
Okay. You maybe think to split up then. A couple people might go with Anya, while the rest will go to just supplies. I didn't really have you roll for money like I normally do, so we'll you certainly level 12 adventurers would have enough coin on hand to buy 5 sets of climbing gear and enough food and water for, we'll say you probably buy like a week's worth just to be on the safe side. In case you end up having to stay there for longer than you were expecting for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
In the meanwhile, whoever is going with Anya can make me an investigation check to try to locate this. I also have
Anya will.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say Anya will give guidance to whoever comes. That is like if Felipe comes, or whoever comes, the most applicable person. I think Anya knows everyone well enough to know who is probably the best researcher.
You're going to the library?
Yeah.
Like as fast as possible. Felipe's like, yeah, let's go right now.
Right now. Anya will give you guidance for the investigation, but just spend the time talking to Alamein clerics about non-related things, knowing that she's bad at it.
You chop it up. I'll be in the books.
Just so you guys know, whenever I tell you you can make a skill roll, you can also choose if you are proficient in that skill. If 2 people are proficient in that skill, one of them can give the other one advantage instead of both of you making a roll. If the bonus is different, it's a bit better sometimes. So go ahead and make that investigation roll and add a d4 from guidance. It's a pretty good start.
Sorry, that didn't work.
Yeah, /R, other way around. So 21 total. Okay. You're kind of searching through stacks while Anya chatting up some of the clerics here. Looking to try to find information on the Ash Mount or on this dragon. you do end up chancing upon a book that is a detailed history of the Ashmount, legends, rumors, and myths associated with it. While flipping through, this does take you a while. It's probably the better part of 3 hours or so that you spend while the others are purchasing them. Flipping through, there's kinds of stories about different omens that the mountain has foretold, different events. Supposedly, the clerics of Mira were foretold the blight based off of certain movements within the volcano. But towards the end, there is a section that talks about a dragon of flame and fire. Falethir, the true flame. According to this book, Falethir is a ancient primordial dragon that once roamed the world, creating islands, sometimes pillaging cities by itself. This was a bit of the time sort of before civilization had really kicked off. Although even the book is kind of not really sure about that specifically. It could be definitely a legend. But supposedly, Falethir, the true flame, sleeps within the mountain, held back by wards placed there many, many years ago. Time when the gods still walked.
David in real life is writing the same notes that Felipe is writing, just like ink splattered on his nose, going full nerd in this library. Do I get the sense that, or does the book literally say, "Hey, this is such an ancient legend. There might be information about it that we don't have in this tome, and like other stories that we haven't compiled here"? Okay.
Yes, it does. It doesn't give references really, unfortunately, but it does say, much of this information is contested, might be apocryphal, but this is what we've compiled about it.
Cool. And Falethir is with an F?
Yes.
Gotcha.
I'll put it in the chat.
Awesome.
While Felipe is doing actual important to our mission work, can I be asking the clerks at the Temple of Alamein if they have any new technique books about glass blowing?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I do in 3 hours. I learn a new glass blowing technique.
They'll direct you to some manuscripts that recently about different ways to blow differently that will affect the glass.
I watched Blown Away on Netflix recently, so that's why I'm into glass blowing right now.
Different
Anya
like stippling techniques, ways to integrate color into the glass work.
Yeah, Anya loves it. This is why she's fine with the Temple of Alamein. You have to have a basis of knowledge to be creative. That's how things work. But yeah, we'll hang around until Felipe's finished and go find the others.
Yeah, some hours later, Felipe, you find on looking at some diagram depicting a dwarf kind of blowing through a tube, creating a ball at once.
Yeah, like 11-year-old Hermione in Sorcerer's Stone, because Felipe's like 3'5". He takes this giant book that's like the size of his torso and just plops it on the table in front of you, Anya, and he's just like, "Okay, so Falethir, ancient fire drake, primordial, older than time itself, raised islands, yada yada yada, all doomsday stuff, blah 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 blah, could be asleep in the volcano. I hope that whatever diagram you're reading is how to build a bigger gun."
Anya smiles and says, I don't need to build a bigger gun. And she pulls out a you've probably seen her bullets before because it's an interesting Tinker's thing. she pulls out a bullet that's just like pure blue, and you can like see inside it like a little like a snow flurry inside the bullet itself. This might help. I don't know.
That is a very good back pocket keepsake. Love to see something like that.
She puts it back into a pouch, and you just see there's like 100 of them.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I think this is valuable information for everybody. I have to do some light shopping, but as soon as we can reconvene with everybody else, I say we get on out of here.
Anya nods, and probably organize with Rudy where to like meet. So we'll head there. And Anya is ready to go, assuming somebody else is going to carry supplies. And that person is Rudy.
You meet back up with Adoren, Rudy, and Dell, who have finished purchasing all of these supplies, none of which Dell are carrying, at least not on their person, all tucked away in the bag, because they would probably fall over or be crushed otherwise. But the three of you also meet up with the other two, seeing Felipe quite excited about the information gathered.
Dell doesn't even let people hand him things. He just holds out the bag of holding.
No, not in the hand. Put it in hand.
In hand.
You will crush my fingers.
He just plays it off as like really not liking to touch people.
I don't think did we.
Well,
I'm not sure we specifically said to the stream. Dell has 3 strength, an actual 3, and mind you, I have them roll 46, but they rolled a 3, and the stat block was still valid. It was above a 70 total, so I forced Charlie to keep that 3.
I think Anya says, well, we can discuss our various things that we have acquired and knowledges and things as we travel. It might be better to get a start if we want to save as many of these acolytes as possible if they're still alive.
Yes, I completely agree with that.
Hell yeah, let's get going.
Let's do it. Before we leave the city, Andrew, I should have asked you this before the game. What is your policy with spell components with monetary value?
You do have to have them. Because I didn't give you gold, I will say that you will have enough to cast any of your spells once. If you would like to have more casts of any spell with a significant monetary component, spells that actually use up that thing, you can purchase that now, and we'll figure out how many casts you might have.
Yeah, I will go find 250 gold worth of incense and 100 a pearl worth 100 gold pieces.
Okay. Felipe, with this is probably a good chunk of the rest of your spending money. You go out and you buy some extra spell components, cast spells multiple times on this particular.
Cool. Thank you.
Right. With that done, you're all kind of waiting impatiently as Felipe patters off to a wizard shop and then runs back, having purchased these new goods.
Yeah, Dell is going to join him and collect diamond dust as well, worth 100 GP.
I already have a pearl, and that's the only component that Anya ever uses.
Felipe takes a look at you buying. Felipe takes a look at you buying diamond dust and is like, "Yeah, you think it's going to go that bad, huh?"
Have very different approaches to things. Anya likes to imagine that we find all 5 alive. I like to imagine that we find the 5.
I agree.
Right.
Completely fair.
You have this conversation as you leave. The 5 of you then set out from the city, heading on a path that is not very well traveled, north towards the Ashbringer, as well, instead of south towards the rest of the Ashen. You head out of the city, making your way across the mountainous landscapes as you immediately are into fairly steep terrain heading north out of the city. Not a lot of people live this way, the closer you get to the volcano, especially, but also because this is pretty rugged terrain. There's some dwarf settlements that are just outside the city, but within several hours of march, you are past that, heading through low-lying wooded valleys, passing across streams and creeks here and there. You make good progress, and by the end of the first day, you can see where the base of the mountain is confidently nearby tomorrow. You camp in a small, mostly devoid of vegetation, this little valley with a small lake next to it. Eating meals by the campfire, and seeing the billowing smoke just very steadily pouring out of the volcano. Occasionally, you'll see some ash kind of rain down, brush it off your hair, off your packs, or out of your face. As you begin the second day, things almost immediately become a lot more difficult and strenuous. It's not too long before you are very thankful that you thought to buy all of this climbing gear, and you have to pull it out and start with buttons and special lamps for your feet. You begin to ascend up the mountain, roughly following the path that the acolyte gave you. They kind of helped you out with some landmarks, told you which face is the easiest to tackle when you're making your way up. I'm going to need everybody to make me athletics checks. You will have advantage because you purchased climbing gear.
I was going to also point out that go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm extremely acrobatic. Can I acrobatically climb this wall?
I'll let you make an acrobatics check at normal.
Yes, I'll take that. I'll take that versus the athletics.
And while Dell purchased climbing gear just in case, he is not even going to try that. He will wild shape instead.
What do you wild shape into?
I'm trying to decide real quick. Give me one moment. I'm torn between Greater Vulture because bird and something more scout-like.
As Anya's looking, as Anya's looking up at this and is like, well, how does this actually work? She will cast guidance on herself, and there's this like really deep part of her, which is like the center of her soul to call Dal, where there's a smith that's just hammering away at tools, and it's just like flicking pitons up at the wall as she tries to acrobatically get at this for guidance.
What time of the day is this?
It's pretty early by the time you have to start climbing, like not that long after dawn. You basically made base camp at the base.
Okay.
Out from there. I think I forgot to mention this when we were doing preparation, or it's just been a week. If you hold down shift when you click on a skill or something, it will automatically roll with advantage. I think I probably forgot to mention that. Likewise, if you hold down control and then click, it will roll with disadvantage. Just so you don't have to. Felipe, you have a moment very early on where you all, except for Dell, of course, scaling this cliff face, and your hands just like give out, like you're kind of stretching, trying to work the blood back into your hands, but you're unable to do so at this portion, and you just start to slide. But you're saved by all of the rope and rigging that you're attached to, thankfully, and you make your ascent. And in future endeavors, you make sure that the blood is flowing to all the necessary spots before you start or before you keep going and you take frequent breaks. You make the way up without issue. Rudy, with your massive Garrik claws, you don't even really need most of this climbing gear. That paired with your strength, you're just like pushing your claws into the side of the mountain, almost as though you were using climbing with like 2 pickaxes for hands, and then pulling yourself up, making very good, quick progress. You are probably basically every time you get to a landing, you are always the first one there, waiting for everybody, pulling up the rope to help along Felipe, Anya, and Adoren. However, Adoren is not that far behind, equally making very quick progress as they're climbing up the mountain, eager to get to Ashen. Anya, though you are not using as much strength, you are kind of flipping and throwing yourself from handhold to handhold to make a quicker ascent, so that you don't have to use as much of your endurance muscles. You don't have very many of, to be honest. Yes, go ahead, Dell.
Just the terrain here, is it especially crowded, or is there, fairly large amounts of room up at the top? Does it look like it's a very tight forest, or?
Oh, there's almost no vegetation as you're climbing the side of it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
So-
sheer rock up the volcano, and even around the base of this, there is very little plant life. You were getting, within the last few hours of your hike to the volcano, there was very few trees, just like shrubs and stuff like that.
In that case, Dell watches all of them climb up first, kind of like when Felipe almost falls and catches himself, and then he very casually just takes a step forward, and when he steps forward, he has become a giant vulture. A couple of quick wing beats, and he joins them at the top. And he doesn't shift out, he'll just stay that way.
You all see a vulture kind of waiting next to Rudy at most of the landing, just like flapping upwards and then watching you kind of picking around for food and whatnot. It is hard going, but you all make good progress. And towards the end of the day, it's probably getting around towards dusk. There's still some light in the sky, but sun is starting to fade. You're helped by the fact that you're so high up at this point. The air is somewhat thin for those of you unaccustomed to being so high up in the air at such high elevation. As you are finishing your ascent, I get everybody to make me a perception check.
I don't like that everybody is getting ones, because I feel like it just means one is coming when it really matters for Anya.
Yeah, this is
My
rough.
my modifier is lower than that. My modifier for this one, but I do have the advantage because of the vulture. Hold on. It's a +1, not a plus.
No, you keep your wisdom in wild shape. It's just the 3 physical stats that change.
Ooh, nice. All right.
It's not like polymorph, that is not true, but
Yeah,
wild shape, that is true.
I was gonna say, I haven't had to do wild shape. I've only had experience with polymorph. Nice.
But it's better in that respect. You are all finishing climbing, looking about, trying to cast your eyes here and there. Mainly, you're looking for this shrine, wherever it might be, and then also look. There's a very thick walk between the outer cliff face and the inner cliff face towards the lava. But crossing that distance, the heat hits you. Even as you're just barely getting up, you can feel that extra intensity coming out of this large pit that goes deep, deep, deep down to just boiling, roiling magma. You do Dell and Adoren, you both spot Off to your left, some distance away, it could be just mistaken for some rock formations, but there is clearly a dwelling sitting here, at the edge. It's small, squat. It's just kind of carved out of the rock nearby. It's not really built up or anything. You can also see, both of you, you notice that the door is wide open, and it looks like the glass that's kind of fitted into these windows is broken inward. Sorry, Anya would see this.
With seeing that, I feel like Doran is just gonna turn to the rest of the group, and he's gonna bring up the attention and just like, there seems to be some sort of a homestead carved into the rock, and it looks as if there's a window that is broken. I think we should find some way to get um access to it and see if everyone, whoever could live there, is alive, and if they are alive, okay.
Anya agrees.
Dell lets out a very unsettling hissing, coughing noise before he looks at the homestead and then just automatically assumes a position above, kind of circling, watching while they investigate the rest of the.
Okay.
So what kind of...
Yes.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
Okay. I was just saying, as you start to approach, you can see, like I said, it's kind of like a squat building made entirely of the same kind of stone that's around it. It's a little bit carved downwards, like there's a bit of an impression that you walk into. Like I said, the door seems open. The window seems like pushed in and clearly broken at parts. You don't hear anybody nearby, although the magma nearby, even though down deep as it is, does make some noise that's present the whole time you're up.
Anya has one gun in her left hand, just in case.
Hold on, gun.
Doran has
Are we
pike.
trying to?
Just has his pike in hand, and he's just like,
Are we trying to make our way like stealthily, or are we just walking up cautiously? What?
Anya always drops into like a fairly stealthy like movement forward when she gets cautious, so she will be trying to be stealthy.
Doran's not really trying to be stealthy. He's more on the cautious side because he's ready to get into it if anything happens. So
I think that like Rudy's good neighbor instinct kicks in, and they're just going to walk directly to the open door, and like they're like, it's an open door, but they knock to try to see go. Hey, in there, anyone?
You like listen for a moment and are only greeted by the wind. You can see inside. It's not like the building. It's not like this place has been tossed. As you're looking in, it's just like there's kind of a common room looking thing. You can see a couple doorways leading off it. It's not huge or anything. It's maybe only like 20 feet square. But you can see there's a table that's been knocked over. A couple other of these doors are just hanging open. There's no response. Kind of are waiting in hopes of one.
Rudy will wave the rest of the party sort of over. There don't seem to be anybody home right now. And it doesn't seem like a huge disarray, but certainly something is off. So if some better trained eyes would like to come look at our crime scene, that'd be much appreciated.
As long as we're alone, I can take a look inside. I'm pretty good at getting in nooks and crannies.
Anya's gonna stay outside and look for any tracks away from this place from the exterior.
Adoran's gonna follow Anya because he knows he's not intelligent, so gonna go with the person who can also some damage, I guess.
Dell is smelling for dead. Hence the vulture.
And Rudy will stay in the house with Felipe just in case things go south inside.
Thanks. Just in case, I'm gonna cast. It only lasts for a minute, but in case something goes real bad real quick, I would like the buffer.
Okay,
But after that, I'll start searching the joint, peering under flip tables, looking for blood splatters, looking for tracks in the dust, looking for dust, signs that people have been here.
I'll get an investigation check from Anya, who's kind of looking outside, and then from Felipe, who's I think leading the inside search.
Can I do survival to track outside
you do survival.
instead of?
That makes sense.
It's only a little bit better.
Hey, doesn't matter when you roll good. Sorry, Charlie.
No, all's good. I just haven't. I didn't unmute in time. I was going to narrate an advantage there, but all is well.
Okay, sorry about that.
I'll take advantage. I'll roll a 20.
Yeah, as you're searching, Dell is still circling well above you, but he's just kind of like narrating in your head with telepathy. Oh, and have you checked it? Oh, what about the rock under there? Did you go to the left of the path a little? I would probably stumble coming out of that home every time. I bet they'd go that direction.
You find it perhaps more distracting than anything else.
There's a point where Anya like literally a vulture without looking. It's like doesn't say anything because she doesn't want to shout in case there's someone around here. But we'll just hold the like looping shot until it stops and then goes back to life.
Okay. Felipe, you search through this room. It seems clear to you that no one's been in here in a couple days. The beds are made, but the drawers are open as though somebody had searched through them. There's not like that many signs of like a huge struggle. So you think if people were taken from here, it's pretty likely that they didn't put up much of a fight. There is no blood that you can find, however, which you do think of as probably a good sign in searching for living people. But it's clear that somebody came through here and was looking for stuff, and then there was a bit of a scuffle on their way out. Clearly, the windows were broken. You can also see some. You kind of don't think very much of it at first because you're on a volcano, but there's like soot and almost like blast marks somewhere. But you get the sense just based off the placement that this was from a spell or something like that. There is broken glass in here that seems to be from a bottle of some kind, a potion or something like that. With the stopper is still attached to the neck of it, but the body of it has been shattered in here.
Cool.
Anya, as you're looking through the outside, your guys' tracks are kind of obfuscating right around the entrance of this place. You think to back up and look around. You do fairly quickly spot a set of tracks. It seems as though there were several individuals who were walking along, as well as several more who you think were probably bound together just by like the way out there they were walking. One of them you notice with your excellent survival skills seems to have been walking with a pronounced limp, because the steps are just a little bit off.
One of the bound people has the limp, right?
One of the bound
That's
people.
what you said.
Yep. One of these figures was wearing either weighed a lot or was wearing something quite heavy like plate mail, because the impression of their foot is very deep into the dirt. They stand out amidst the other ones. You also notice that some of the feet were not booted, but they seem to have been clawed dead. It leads off, and then you kind of notice there is a bit of a path that leads into the caldera and down into the volcano on the inside. It's not very obvious from the outside. If you weren't following their tracks, you don't think you would have spotted it very easily. But as you're looking at it, it does seem to be, if not an easy path, then a viable one downward.
Anya says to Adoren, the trails, they seem to have gone into the that little opening there, and points it out so that Adoren can see it as well. And calls down for the vulture. Points it out to the vulture as well, but go ahead, Bubba.
But Adoren just looks down, and once you like point out the tracks, he gets this like concerned look on his face, because he's just like, those are claws, right? I'm not mistaken. You're pointing out claw marks upon the ground. We're not dealing with anything but claws from the description of the acolyte, so that's not a good sign.
Well, the acolytes are at least alive and walking. And she like points out the heavy boot prints as well and says, also it has to be small enough to fit through this opening, so can't be too big. It's all right. You and I can handle most things, but we should probably get Rudy and Felipe.
Okay.
You gather Rudy and Felipe and make your way again towards that path, when Anya and Dell get a prickling feeling back of their heads, and you notice off in the distance, kind of a little bit, clearly have tried to hide themselves behind that boulder. There is a figure standing there, crouched down. You can't see very much of them. Again, they're actively trying to hide, but your passive perceptions are just high enough to have spotted them. You can kind of see maybe robes and hair just barely sticking out. They are quite a distance away, a little bit behind where the house was.
Anya pauses for a moment to look around to see if there's anyone else hiding.
You can make a perception check.
Oh, I was one late.
You are very confident that there is no one else in the area scanning about, looking at every rock. Unless they are invisible, there's just that one person in your group.
Knowing pretty.
Look up. Sorry, go ahead, Charlie.
I was gonna say, knowing pretty well the way that he and Anya work together, while she's doing that, Dell is, he's already knows this guy is hiding, but he is still trying to decide if he appears to be a threat. He's doing so like with malevolent or fear. Is he hiding out of fear, or is he hiding out of
this is not
intent?
A person who is hiding because they're afraid of you. This is a person who is watching you.
All right.
But they don't seem to have noticed you observing them yet.
So quickly, that same voice, this time not chattering. They don't know we're here. Shall I attack, or would you like to let them think that they are just spying upon us?
Anya looks at the other three who seem unaware, and that would make sense with Anya's experience with them, and says, yes, I think we should probably subdue the person. How far away is it?
They're some distance from you. They're like 200 feet off from where you are at the moment.
Oh. Do you tell the three of us that someone's watching?
Not yet. I think Anya says to Dell, if you can do something to disable them, you should do it. And then turns to the other three and says, I don't think it's a good idea to make a big deal of it, but there is someone watching us from behind the rock. And denotes where the rock is. Hopefully at the same time that a vulture just like jumps onto someone's face. I'm assuming that you're not going to use any of your many druid spells for this moment.
Well, yes, being that I am in midair, Dell just starts his spiral higher, like he's just kind of surveying the area, and uses that higher spiral to get closer so that whenever he does make his dive at the fellow, he hopefully has time to do it before it can run away or anything else.
Do I see this person behind the rock?
No, you if you're looking over there, you are not able to spot them.
Okay.
Visibly.
But Anya, you pointed out the rock to me. I'm like, which rock?
To everybody that there is someone watching us from that location.
Are we doing something about this?
Oh, yes, our bird friend is going to do something.
All right. Well, just in case.
I don't know what.
Just in case, you guys catch up when you get a chance. And
you cut off for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I will cast Dimension Door and aim 500 feet, however far it is, right behind that rock.
I really like the idea of this poor sap just suddenly being Dimension Doored and vultured.
And yeah, I don't know why it said force damage.
That's if you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I don't want to try to hit him. I just want to Dimension Door right behind whoever's hiding behind this rock. I mean, if I hit him, but I'm trying not to do that.
Yeah, you could take someone with you if you want to on that one.
I don't think I can because none of you are small.
Yeah, because we're all too big.
I wanted to take either Anya or Adoren,
I think
but I don't think I can.
I think Andrew tends to waive that for gnomes because I've played a gnome with Dimension Door.
You can take somebody if you want.
Okay, I look over at Adoren and I say, would you care to join me?
Of course.
I grab your hand and we're Dimension Door.
I will have a roll off to see who gets there, who is acting first, whether the spell goes off first or Dell's does something first. So Dell and Felipe make a d20 roll, and that will be.
God, I hope it happens at the exact same time.
That would be good.
Like, you just appear behind a person that gets hit in the face by a vulture.
Oh,
it's pretty close. It's close enough that this guy won't have time to react to the second person.
Perfect.
The second and third person.
Technically speaking, yes.
So a love paladin and a little low wizard are about to drop on this dude's head.
Dell,
it's like a bar joke.
You swoop down, and what are you doing?
He is basically just going for a pinning attack. Like, imagine when you see a very large bird take a very small object and so claws to the shoulders and just knock him straight over.
Okay, that would
kind of like going for the forearms almost because he's used to fighting mages.
That would be opposed athletics because you're trying to knock them over. You can have advantage because you are coming at them downwards with all your weight.
And that's with my physical, the wonderful advantages of wild shape. Alright, I'll just do it twice because I can't remember how to manually do it.
As you're sweeping down, you can see that this figure, they don't appear to be wearing armor or anything, but they do have a sword on their back now that you're viewing them from a much closer. They're going to make their opposed check. 9. So you do succeed. You knock them, like hitting them into this rock. They are knocked prone. Felipe and Adoren, at that exact same moment you appear behind them. And we're going to cut to break and come back with that.
Cool.
So we will take a quick, what do you guys want, 10, 15 minutes?
10 is good for me.
10's fine for me.
That's fine.
And
Go hydrate.
40. Okay, we will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Back half of this session, we are coming back to some combat. So this person is surprised. Felipe and Adoren, you both have a moment to do something right now. Felipe, you have used your action, I'm going to say, to cast Dimension Door. So you can still do something that requires a bonus action or move or something like that. But for the purpose of the surprise round, you have used your action.
Gotcha. In that case, I am going to use my bonus action to enter my Blade Song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Enters into the Blade Song. Adoren, what are you doing? Currently, this figure is knocked prone on the ground with the vulture kind of standing on top of them.
I'm gonna actually take this round. We're in combat now. This is combat.
We're not in initiative, but yes, we are in combat.
Okay.
We will roll initiative right after this.
Okay. With that in mind, I'm going to assert dominance, and I'm going to point my pike near the figure's face, and Adoren's just gonna be like, oh god, this is so stupid. Or it's just gonna be like, what is your purpose? State your reason. And
Make an intimidation check.
I do dig the Oath of Love Paladin asserting dominance right here, though.
Yeah, it just doesn't come out quite as like you're rushing a little bit to get the words out, so it doesn't have the impact you want in this moment.
The one thing that I have proficiency in, and it doesn't give me a high roll.
No, right. At this point, I'm not gonna use a map for this. But I'm going to drag out maybe. There we go. Drag out the tokens. So you can see yourselves. Hell, we knew. Quite so. Okay. So I'm gonna add. I know not all of you are right here, but I'm gonna have all of you roll initiative. So I've added you all to the turn tracker. You can either roll initiative through your sheet, or you can go to the turn tracker, which is the second tab, list, and roll from there. Draw out the person who you're fighting. Who goes dead last?
Is having a bad time.
Dell, you are currently standing over this figure, and you are reacting first. They have grabbed their sword and drawn it, though on the floor, like from their back. And they seem to be trying to shrug you off and also reaching for something.
So, quick mechanics question, because in this form I cannot cast spells, but I have a feature for my telepathy, and one of the things on there is innate of detect thoughts. Is that something that I can do since it's not technically part of my spellcasting stuff? It's like it doesn't require components, etc.
Sure, I'll say that you can do stuff from the feet since you retain your normal class build.
So, does this grapple, does this currently count as having him pinned? Is he going to have to make a check to get out of it next when it's his turn?
He doesn't have to, but he wants to be out of it.
Okay, but yeah, if he wants to be out of it, he'll have to make a check on that.
He is knocked prone and grappled, so yes.
Okay, cool. So
I should say, you're actually looking at a.
Okay. So in that case, he is going to just generally broadcast to the others. You can ask questions if you like, and he is casting his surface detect thoughts, and I'll just display that. Like, this vulture just kind of like squints at this person looking at them, and he's still trying to, like, he's following up on what Adoren was trying to do, though his intimidation didn't quite work.
I came out of a dimensional door. Sorry, I wasn't prepared.
I'm sorry. That was fast. That was super fast.
This is a wisdom.
Yeah, it's a DC 19 wisdom save.
Ooh, just off. Okay.
Ooh.
So you can read their surface thoughts.
Okay, and so for that one, I think it lasts a minute, and so anything that anyone else does, he'll be able to focus on too. What does he experience in the surface thoughts? Other than, oh shit, there's a vulture on top of me.
I'm just reading it. You can get the surface thoughts. Yeah, I remember. You can get the surface thoughts no matter what. If you want to dive deeper, that they make the check, but it happens right away. So their surface thoughts are mostly like, God damn it, get the fuck off me. But probing deeper, you can hear them thinking, I gotta reach the gemstone.
Yeah, and so he quickly warns the rest. Gemstone, prevent him from touching that, would you? And I don't think he has any really bonus action things that are useful right now. So he's just going to try to hold on. He's reaching for a gemstone.
Estelle's turn. Anya, you can see now that the other two have teleported next to this, behind this rock. They're a little bit out of sight, although you can see Adoren pointing a pike down at, presumably at the figure, and you can see the flapping wings. You again are fairly far away. You're about 200 feet away.
200 feet? That's like an annoying amount. Let me double check this range. Yeah, I think Anya just like starts to move, like looks at Rudy and inclines her head and just starts to move that way. But pulls out one gun in particular, and it's like gleaming platinum this gun is made out of. And on the base of the gun, it has a like, as she pulls it into hand, you see the base of the hilt of the gun, and it has like an electrum emblazoned with Cordal symbol on it. And she's just loading it with pretty slowly, with 4 of the cold bullets. And I'll ready my action to. I don't know if that works, but I'll ready my action to shoot the person's hands if I see them reaching for anything, even from this distance.
You move the 30 feet. Ready your action to, if you can, if you see their hands. Currently, they're even moving 30 feet, still mostly blocked from you. You have sharpshooter, so for damage purposes, it doesn't matter, but to see their hands specifically. Okay.
And you know that Dell doesn't mind getting shot a little.
Rudy, you are you were standing next to Anya. Anya has begun to move. What are you doing?
So again, I definitely could not make it to our opponent in my movement right now. Darn. Okay.
If you want to move your full speed, you will, you'll be able to move 70 feet this round, and then
Yeah, we'll do the full movement and then take the dash action and just get as close as possible for now.
Rudy blows past you, Anya, and is moving their big, heavy frame towards this engagement that is currently going on. Moving. Felipe, you hear Dell's voice in your head talking about some gemstone, and you do see this person is like reaching around at their pockets. They do have the longsword out now already in one hand.
Okay, yeah. So Felipe just kneels down, squats next to them, and kind of rests the haft of the spear over his knees. And now that he's in the Blade song, he sort of moves like the smoothest bit of classic animation you've ever seen, just like bleeding one frame to the next as he just sort of floats down to this person. And he looks them dead in the eye and says, like, let's just skip this part. And I'll cast Cause Fear on them. They have to make a Wisdom saving throw.
Despite having a massive wisdom, they do become afraid of you, so they are now frightened as whatever their fears are manifest in front of them. So they will have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls, and they can't willingly move closer towards you.
Cool. And I will end my turn there. That's it.
They start to scream, "Ah, what the fuck?" It is an Adoren's turn.
Yes. So this person's just having the worst possible day, and as a result of not being able to properly intimidate them, and given the fact that they're trying to like really try to like get away, I would like to oh god, what do I want to do? I don't want to hit them, but I feel like I kind of have to hit them. Just to shut them up. I'm gonna try to hit them. I'm just gonna like.
You have advantage because they are prone.
Oh lord. Ooh, sorry, girl. So just one.
That does hit. That just barely hits.
Just barely?
Yes, both of those hit.
Okay.
You just stab down at them.
Was that how do I roll for damage?
In the chat box it'll say damage and you can just click on that. Okay. 15, it's pretty good. Stabbing down into their shoulder.
You don't want to hit them, but you do everything that you can to the best of your ability.
Yeah. Listen, Adoren was just trying to get information and it didn't work, so he's just gonna be like, oh shit.
If he didn't want to get stabbed, he would have been more forthcoming.
Exactly. So was that I will say Adoren who does end his turn because what's that person gonna do? Run away?
Well, did you want to roll damage for your? You made 2 attacks, right?
Oh, that's right. I'm a full on level 12. I've been so used to it. I'm sorry. I mean, why not? I mean, like, what's gonna stop? Oh, we just it definitely does hit.
Yeah.
Okay,
not as good. stabbing them again. You feel slightly bad about their screams of pain as you. The armor is like taking some of the blow, but like you're poking through, and this woman with this longsword is just on the floor, frightened of Felipe and being stabbed by Adoren while it's got this vulture over them.
Having the worst possible day.
On their turn, they are going to cast a spell and teleport.
I will counterspell.
Okay, go ahead and what level are you casting at?
That's a great question. I really don't want this fucking person. I'm gonna do it at 5th level. Sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm gonna do it at 5th level.
Okay. You cast counterspell. Go ahead and on that. They begin to cast.
I hope that's enough.
You immediately counterspell, and their spell begins to fizzle on their mouth. They reach in, grab this glowing red gem, and crush it in their hand. I now have to
Doesn't that set off?
Do I get to shoot them before that happens?
You cannot see their hand as they are knocked prone behind this rock. Fortunately, you are too far away.
I would have probably said a different contingency, but that's fine.
You could shoot
I don't
them.
think anything else.
Yeah, you could shoot them if you want, but they're just not visible because of how this happened.
It's all right. I kind of want to see what this gem does. Oh, it's a significant gem. I think Anya's just like, man, I want this gem in my life.
Actually, it kind of worked out that they at these new.
Huh.
Nice.
As they crush this gem,
whoa!
These are fire snakes.
Bad feeling about this gem.
They crush this gem all around all of you within like basically a 15-foot radius. These fire snakes just begin to almost be conjured out of air. There's like a spark which coalesces into these snake-like forms. Anybody who wants to can make me an Arcana check.
I'm on it. Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Okay. Rudy, you are very familiar with fire snakes. You've perhaps fought before. There is normally you would consider these to be pretty weak creatures. Even like a swarm of them, these 10 would not be that difficult for you to handle on your own. These ones, however, there is something different about them. The heat radiating off them is greater. They seem to just be more powerful than the typical version. Adoren and Del, you can also tell this, that these are not normal fire snakes that have by this the crushing of this gemstone.
Y'all ain't got a good feeling about this. This doesn't feel right.
What? How? Just crushing the gem made all these things appear?
Look, I told you we should have skipped this part. We could have had a conversation. Although you did get stabbed twice, so I kind of see where you're coming from.
I'm not sorry anymore.
Felipe is just like, I kind of understand why it went this way, but it didn't have to.
Yeah, it's like all the events that transpired have led to this moment. I am a believer in determinism, but we could have avoided this entire situation. Now I gotta fuck you up.
And for the people standing around this human on the ground, the air was hot before. It's now like blistering from the heat coming off of all these fire snakes. This does not feel good. Okay.
All right. At this point, I actually need the map, so I'm going to refresh and see if I can see any of that.
We're not using a map, so it's not super important.
Oh, okay.
You are surrounded by these things. You can basically like reach out and attack 3 or 4 of them at any given moment. Especially since you were standing right. There are, because they were created in such a wide area. Anya, you can see about half of these things like fully not obscured by the rocket. They, however, are going to begin as you are all surprised by the sudden appearance of the 10 creatures wriggling about, rushing to try to start attacking you. One of them is going to attack, or 2 of them are going to attack Adoren, and one of them is going to attack Felipe on this first go around. They're going to make. It begins.
Can I
Yes.
utilize the no, I didn't specify who I wanted that attached to. Never mind.
I forgot about that. You should probably, you can decide that now, and we will say that will carry through.
Yeah. So one of them is just moving forward. One of them will definitely be our wizard, and the other one will probably be Anya.
Okay. You are you're too far away to use that anyway. So,
Okay.
The distance you get on your next turn, you could use that on. You could have used that on Felipe if you after you move again, but currently you're. So now I'm forgetting. I said 2 on Adoren, 1 on Felipe, right?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Yes, okay. This is against Adoren. Yeah, that crit does. That's fine. You don't take that much damage. You take 12 points of damage, half of that being fire damage, as this thing sinks its red hot teeth into your leg, like latching onto your heel. Someone's going to try to attack you as well. Is not breaking through your armor with its bite, just biting ineffectually, but slapping against you with its tail for 10 more points of damage. Again, mix of bludgeoning damage and the fire damage from the heat. The last one's going to check Felipe. That's going to hit.
Oof. Oof.
Oh, wow. So you're going to take... Okay, so you take 3 from the bite attack. It, like, just nibbles on you a little bit. However, the tail slaps you, like, right on the knee that you're going to go... feeling a little bit. 5. You're going to take 13 points of damage from that one. It is then going to be Dell's turn.
All right. I can now see tokens though, which is helpful. Are these distances relative, or like are the ones that came up pretty much clustered close around the fallen human?
Like I said, you are pretty much surrounded.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to use the vulture's pack tactics to gain advantage on the attack on the prone human. And as he's making this bite, let me see if I can pop the giant vulture stats into the chat to make it obvious. No, it doesn't pop out. All right. Well then, it's just a bite +4 to roll.
Oh, I'll just...
Can't roll it as I can't pop it out as the mini character card. So,
yeah,
but anyway,
yeah. Sorry, I'll
he's
give you a
got pack tactics and he's got beacon talons. Both are +4 to hit.
I meant to ask you why they wild shape.
And Founder froze up again. So I'm giving 1 second, popping back in.
Okay.
But
there should be a giant filter sheet.
nice, thank you. Foundry just exploded. Is there somebody right below me in the turn order that wants to go while the... Oh, there we go. Came back. Thank you, I've got it now. I think it didn't like the new character sheet. Alright.
I am not. Maybe part of the issue.
It might be. Come
Any
on,
chance
tap out.
to blame Andrew for stuff is a chance
I-
that we should take.
Welcome. I will take it every time. And
Yeah, that's good.
it goes beak. I
That-
just ran it again just in case I got the 20. And then
Yeah.
talons.
Yep, that's gonna hit.
Yeah.
You don't really need pack.
So
tactics 'cause
he
they are
savages
so
him.
prone.
Okay. That's true, I forgot. You know, I forgot the fact that I'm sitting on this poor guy's chest.
Yeah, they're just like. "Argh."
Yeah. As he does that, he's mentally cast to him. If you pull them off, this will be a lot easier, yes?
Roll your damage. You kind of like scratch and poke at them. They cry out again in pain. Get off! But are unable to do anything yet. Anya, it is then your turn. As I said, you can see about half of these fire snakes and the struggle that is breaking out.
Can I still do a bonus action? The multi-attack is just one action, right?
Sure, yeah, sorry. Did you want to...
When Felipe was the one who got hit the hardest, right?
Right.
We'll hold off on that. You're all right. You're all right, health-wise, Felipe, or are you?
I'm rolling in it. I'm rolling the deep.
Okay. All right. You're a Bladesinger. You'll be okay.
You guys are level 12. Like, everybody has a lot of HP.
I'm the tankiest wizard you ever met.
That's not.
It's not true at all. Not true at all.
All right. In that case, Anya, go ahead.
Can we say that I dashed last turn because I didn't have a valid hand vision to do the ready action anyway? Like, so I'm closer.
Sure, I'll say that.
So, I'm still like 120 feet away from this whole melee of writhing fire snakes.
Correct. 140.
All right. Well, I'm not going to waste a spell slot on fire snakes. That's for sure. Kodal didn't make me that way. So Anya just keeps walking, like doesn't break stride. A second gun just appears in her other hand, and I'll just fire 4 shots into the nearest fire snake.
Okay.
This one, the first one and third one is doing cold damage, if that's relevant.
Sure.
All right, control to get disadvantage because it's outside of my range. Click the wrong
Just
side.
walk calmly away from fiery scenes. Anya walks calmly into them. I was still waiting for your guns' names, and these definitely.
And then the last one is like, I'm alternating them, but I'm only using one of them as a bonus attack one. So the last one is my offhand gun. So this is with sharpshooter, so at -5. Well, all right. That's why that's the first gun, because it's bad. Okay, so the 10 misses.
Roll the damage
so-
sequentially because that might matter.
Yeah. All right. Did that show up? So 11 cold damage on the first shot. then 18
one of them
piercing
dies.
damage on the second. The third one aims at like the next nearest for 12 cold damage, and the last one misses. Anya just like pours 4 shots into this horde of snakes.
Yeah, so some of the outlying ones which haven't gone yet, which are slithering around, you and kill. It just like explodes from the bullet shots. Another one you wing, instantly making it bloodied as blood squirts from the neck. But then your next shot just ricochets off the ground. So it's
And
move,
then
action,
I am
action.
done. I'm probably not going to action surge just to deal with these snakes.
Sure. Rudy, you can see all of these snakes. You're a little bit closer to some of the snakes than you are to the melee, but you are still quite far away.
Okay, so here is what I'm going to do. I am going to ready in action. If I come within melee, I don't know if I'm playing a little fast and loose here. When I come within melee range of one of our enemies, I just want to smack them with my warhammer. So that's my readied action. If I am ready in action, can I also still use my bonus action this turn?
Yeah.
And as my bonus action, I'll go into a rage.
Sure. So you move closer, ready if something comes near you, and rage.
I want to specify the language real quick. Not if something comes near me, if something just gets within melee range.
Sure, but I mean, they would have to move towards you unless you are teleported.
Well,
Adoren just slams one into your range. That would be very funny.
I think I know where you're going with that. I understood you. All right, you are just close enough after your movement to use that thing.
Cool beans.
On any of the people currently engaged. Another round of fire snakes are going to go. 2 of these ones are going to attack our vulture friend, and one more is going to hop on.
Grapple is going to rapidly reverse if they do.
These are going to be the on the vulture. I'm just going to do all of the attacks at once, and we'll figure out what hits. Or for per character, anyways. So I'll just roll both bites and both tails. Okay, so I think that's 2 hits, 2 misses.
Hold on, I can't see the numbers yet. You're calculating my mage armor in there still too.
The giant vulture only has 10 AC.
Well, does it count my mage armor because mage armor's applied to me ahead of time? As long as I'm not armored, and the spell has been cast before.
I never run druids. Nobody ever wants to play a druid in my game. Let me take a look at it.
I think I remember, like, the reason that I took mage armor was because it does, like, you don't stack them.
It doesn't say specifically, so I'm going to assume it keeps up.
Yeah, Crawford's ruling on it was, like, that it doesn't stack, but if you get something with natural armor, then it doesn't help, but you can use it on an unarmored thing.
It doesn't break concentration either, so that's kind of what I'm going to go by. It won't break a spell that's on you.
All right.
Your equipment would merge. So yeah, okay. So you do have that up, so that's +2. I'm forgetting now. 2 plus dex?
It's 13 plus its dex.
13 plus dex.
So it's 15.
So only 2 of those do. No, it's 13.
It's
the giant vulture.
It's 13 plus the vulture.
Oh yeah, yes.
Has 0 dex. Yeah.
So 13,
It's
yeah.
just still enough to make those two.
Got it.
So that's 9, 10, 15 points of damage total as these creatures start to swarm you, biting, flapping at you with their tails. One of them, again, is going to attack Felipe, bite and tail. So that's going to... That one's going to
It's
miss.
not loading.
Yeah, tail
There you go.
misses.
You're going to take 7 points of damage from this bite as another one leaps up, kind of wrapping onto your shoulder, trying to grip on. It's then going to be your turn as you're now like covered in these fire snake. They're almost slug-like. They have these sharp beaks with many rows of teeth in there.
So they're kind of around me in like a horseshoe right now.
They're kind of just in a field around the whole group. You have a bunch like that are in fiction, like on top of you. They're next to you. So if we were in a grid, they would be horseshoed around.
Okay, I'm going to roll to my right to try to put as many of them as possible to my left, if that makes any sense, and the party behind me. And I'll take attacks of opportunity if I have to.
Okay.
I'm going to just try to get as many of them in a cone in front of me as I can.
How big's the cone? Just so I can figure out.
I believe it is 60 feet. 60-foot cone.
Okay, you probably get half of them without hitting a party member by moving around. You are going to take 6 attacks of opportunity. Okay.
I'll take them.
Right.
I'll take them. Bring it on.
I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Okay,
I am. Ooh. All right. Well, I am gonna cast. Actually, this is a good point. If I cast Shield as a reaction, can I still cast a spell as my action?
Yeah.
Yes, because of the stupidity of how 5e works. Only bonus action spells.
Dumb things.
Stop that.
I think I've rolled in the past that doesn't work, but fine.
I think going forward, you should rule that it does.
I will cast Shield, which blocks 1 attack, but that's worth it for me, so I will take those first 3.
I think
because if it meets your AC.
Yeah, my problem with that is that it makes Shield already better than one of the best spells in the game. But
I was joking, Andrew. It's fine.
Okay. So you're only 3 of those. Sorry, would only turn 1 into a miss if that factors into your mathematics.
Yeah, that's right. Because AC meets.
Beats it.
It's okay. I did it already. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
So you'll.
I'd rather take 3 than 4.
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't Rudy have a thing?
I don't want to take away Felipe doing something cool though.
I know. What's your thing? What's
so on that
I don't
point,
want to metagame. But
this is a good question. Felipe is moving just out of range as these attacks are happening, so it wouldn't be able to go off anyways. Because you are just barely at the end of range when you're doing that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I was thinking about that.
I really want to know what this thing is that you have.
Can you come shell him? Cover him with your shell?
So it's not that cool. But
Armadillo powers activate.
Okay, let me just add this up real quick. You take a total of 21 points of damage as backing up these creatures just like biting every fold of your body that they can get a hand.
Yeah, Felipe just staggers back, bloodied, and takes out some components out of his component pouch and is going to throw a cone of cold at as many of them as possible.
Okay.
Ooh.
He just grabs a small crystal and a little glass cone out of his component pouch and rams the crystal into the narrow end of the cone and focuses as he stabs the spear into the ground next to him. Cone of cold. I will do it. I'm not going to upcast it, so I'll do it at 5th level.
Okay.
And anybody I hit needs to make a Constitution save.
So I'm gonna make 5 Constitution. Oh, I did not mean to click all of them. Oops.
Oh.
I'll use the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of them succeeds. The rest will fail.
Cool. Big
Cool.
damage, dog. Big damage.
That is a good roll.
Yeah.
The asses.
4 of them. That was really good, actually. On 8d8, you didn't roll.
That was a wild.
Your
wild
lowest roll
match.
was a 4. The one which saved just barely doesn't die. The rest of them, however, in a of coal, just start to shrivel before kind of like solidifying in place. So you have significantly weaned these creatures down.
I will just like spit some blood in the dirt, and I'll look over at the woman on the ground and be like, "I told you we could skip this part."
I really like that it comes up with plus dead when you kill these things. I don't know why that in particular really I appreciate.
Because, they are. It's like adding something to the counter,
Yeah, it's adding the state of death.
This fire snake is going to attack the vulture, who is in range for your thing, Rudy. If you would like to do that,
I'm sorry. I was looking at things. What was that?
the vulture is in range for your ring. Like to swap as these.
I think I specified I get 2. I only get 2 people.
Oh, that's right. It was you're right. The wizard and.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I probably should have let you do it for up there stuff.
Could you roll less criticals?
No, I'm rolling
Just
super hot on
mathematically less criticals.
these absolute minion mooks right now.
Like every second attack is a critical.
Got magic shooting dice.
I'm going to tell you guys a secret. If I don't think the enemy is going to do anything, or if they have a low bonus compared to your guys' AC, they will always roll better. Like that's just a rule. I apologize ahead.
Okay.
Magic shooting dice.
19.
19, yes. The giant vulture is going to take 19 more points of damage, which I think drops you out of.
You mean the giant vulture is going to take 7 points of damage, and Dell is going to take another 12 points on his regular self.
You're standing on this person's chest, like. Oh.
Yeah.
The best part is that because of how D&D works, you are technically still grappling that person.
Yep.
Yeah.
They still have to do something to get out of it.
Yeah, he is just, abruptly there's this man in robes kind of like kneeling over the shoulders of this woman. Hello there.
Keep them here.
Dell looks at you, starts to speak, and then just bursts into laughter, like at the very thought.
I turn to Adoren. Keep them here.
Keep them here?
Keep whoever that is on the ground, keep them here. They're going to try to get away.
Adoren, it is your turn.
Like the only way I can keep someone there. Like doing something they're not gonna like doing. But since, they summon these bitch ass snakes, I'm not exactly, against hurting them anymore.
Selective pacifism.
Very much that. So Adoren is going to make an attack on Girl on the ground because fuck her. And they're still grappled, right? So
yeah,
are
they weren't able to get up, so
nerd.
Or they failed to teleport away, is what it was. That's gonna hit.
Great.
Right? They are bloodied at this point. They have gone below half HP. They are full of pike wounds. It's
As
repeatedly stabbed down on.
And for this one in particular, I'm. Ooh, I don't want to give them the juice. I don't want to give them the juice.
Don't waste it.
Nah, yeah. But what I will to just make them that bloodies them, so they're gonna have a hard time trying to do anything. Hmm. Can I cast? Because how many of the fire snakes are in front of me?
You've got 5 around you still.
Around me? Ugh, gross.
2 of them are not looking.
I see. So, to one of them that's not really looking any good, I also want to attack them with the Pike of the Heart.
Turning your attention on one of the snakes you stab down. And you will hit them. Roll for damage. Will almost certainly die. Another 11. You stab through this creature, kind of pinning it to the dirt as it dies.
Really wish I didn't have to do that, but sometimes people make dumb decisions. And with that, I'm going to end my turn because I'm not wasting magic on these hoes. You're simply getting the pike and simply the pike.
One of these snakes is going to Adoren, so bite the tail.
No.
Hey, there's a 1.
No.
Both of these missing. The first one just like flailing past you. The other one kind of just bouncing off your armor ineffectually. This person is going to attempt to cast the teleportation spell again.
This is the same turn, isn't it?
It is the same turn. You do not have a reaction.
Yep.
Since you cast shield.
I didn't think they could do it twice. Shit.
They are going to disappear. Dell'ansira just kind of like falls like 2 feet to the ground as their body vanishes. They are going to reappear about 30 feet away from Rudy. Looking at you and seeing you in the way of the most viable exit. They're going to move towards you, and with their long sword, they're going to swing at you twice.
Okay.
Well, Rudy's attack goes off first, right?
Yes, that's true.
They're ready to attack.
You're ready to attack.
That was some good planning there,
That is
Kristen.
Yep.
This person tries to escape, runs directly into a Garrik. Like, just, I'm going to kill you now.
They had to move away from Felipe, which
Oh
is
no!
in Rudy's direction.
From the vulture's talons straight into the Garrik's maw. Like,
You swing this warhammer, but they kind of like dodge out of their way.
Since that was a ready to action and not like a reaction, I get 2 attacks for each attack action. Can I go ahead and take a second, or?
It is still, if you ready an attack, it is 1 attack.
Okay.
According to 5e rules.
Okay.
That's a good question. Yes, then they're going to swing at you with this silver long.
Oh no.
That just barely hits you.
Yeah, that hits. I have resistance to all damage that's not psychic though, because I'm raging. Yeah.
So
I forgot that.
definitely this damage. The second one, however, just like you dodge out of the way, moving your massive frame. This does hit you, and there is this shimmering effect, and some of this damage is force damage as it lashes into you. arcane magic flares for a moment. You do resist all of that, however. That's 11 points of damage to you.
Okay. Does Foundry take care of that, or do I need to manually input?
You will need to manually input HP change.
Okay.
Yeah, there are ways to make it do it, but involves a lot of extra. This snake is going to. Felipe, would you have moved? I kind of wouldn't think about it. Would you have just moved to the edge of where the snakes were, or would you have gone like even farther to be a little bit away from them?
I think Felipe was focused on as many in the cone as possible, and as soon as he got to that point, he wouldn't have moved any further than that.
Okay.
So not my full movement if I could. Yeah.
This one's going to move, which would allow Dell to make an attack of opportunity if they would like to. However, they were going to still be close to Adoren.
Yes, Dell would certainly make an attack of opportunity.
What melee weapon are you holding?
I have my Staff of Dreams available.
Oh.
Go well. You're,
Ah,
what do you got?
This strength-based weapon that you're using.
But I am a druid. I actually can't do Shillelagh because it's just an attack. Well, can I?
You have to cast Shillelagh.
You have to cast
Yeah.
Shillelagh first. If you
And
had
it's
cast
okay.
Shillelagh,
Yeah.
but it's a bonus action.
Okay. So yeah. Despite the fact that this never goes well for him, Dell assumes the posture that one would, while playing cricket or mini golf, and swings.
This is a flat roll, I believe.
Yeah, probably.
Your weapon isn't even set up as a
I
weapon.
didn't make it a quarterstaff for reals because I didn't think you were ever going to use it.
Well, this is why.
You just hit the dirt and the dust skitters out.
I just realized something.
Why should it take Warcaster or something?
If it's how close is this fire snake trying to come through?
To
How
you?
close is it to me?
It is rotating around you. So it was kind of next to you, now it's behind you. It specifically did not want to move out of your range with the nasty pike, but it did not care about the frail looking druid.
Okay, so it's not trying to leave. Okay.
Yeah, if Felipe had said they would move back as far as possible, then they would have had to leave your melee range, but they did not do that.
Okay.
I wanted to clarify. I know normally I do like to use maps, but for this one I thought it would be easier. I don't know how many crits I've rolled, but it's been a lot.
The balance.
Far too many.
Felipe, you're going to take 11 points of damage as this creature slithers up and slaps you with its tail.
Wait. It is in 5 feet of me, correct?
Correct.
I do have the feat Sentinel, and it says here if it makes an attack against anything within. Yeah, I can make a weapon melee using my reaction.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
So, fuck this snake.
Oh, hold on. I also have Sentinel. Does that mean you can't do it? I don't remember if that's a rule.
You can still do it.
No, I think.
Oh, the monster can't have Sentinel. That's the thing, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I think that the way that you have Sentinel as well, it's very funny.
I did take Sentinel.
Sentinel's a good feat.
So the Sentinel hit that Adoren is doing goes off before the critical because it triggers on the miss, right?
Correct.
The first attack. So
correct.
It's just a moment where we see Felipe take a critical tail attack.
It might not go off. It depends on the damage that you. All right, and whether or not you hit.
All right. So let me.
That is a miss, unfortunately. You stab your pike down into it, but it's kind of the scales block it enough that it redirects off to the side.
Bitch.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the try.
All right. I will try to remember to prompt you about Sentinel. I had.
Mhm.
Oh. No. Okay. I almost skipped. This one's going to attack as they are attempting to pike their brother.
Oh, boo-hoo, your brother's a cunt.
And Felipe is quite bloodied by this point,
They're gonna
right?
miss.
I'm
and then
doing
hit.
great.
Oh, if you want to tell the healer that,
You're the
feel
one we have to be
free.
concerned about.
Adoren, you're going to take 7 points of damage right now. One again slaps its tail into your side. It's then going to be back to Dell's turn.
No, does Felipe hide his injuries from the healer?
No, Felipe is in battle mode right now. He's just very matter of fact, like, yes, I am in pain right now.
Okay.
It's not like it's just dozens of small like bites and burns on their Gnomish frame.
All right. So in that case, and how far away did the one that was running from us get? The human that ran up to Rudy?
They're 90 feet away from you because they teleported
Okay.
60 feet away and then moved another 30. The teleport was
All
a
right.
bonus action.
So as Dell scrambles to his feet, pretends he did not utterly fail that quarterstaff blow, and chases off through them. He kind of pats Felipe as he goes by. You're all right. You'll be fine. Everything's going to be just fine. And the balm of the summer court kind of infuses him. On top of that, you get 6 temporary hit points.
You heal 19 and have 6 temp.
Thank you.
And he's going to use all of his movement to put himself within 60 feet of the other feller. Let's see.
Just for clarification, you would take an attack of opportunity if they hadn't already all attacked Felipe, and none of them that have come back around since that time got turned. So they still are refreshing their reactions.
Yeah, that was what I was banking on, because that is not my role to take that many attacks
Felipe
of opportunity.
also killed half of them that would have been able to.
Yeah. And at the distance that he is at, just a mind sliver.
Right.
So he just sort of slams his quarterstaff down on the ground and flings the tip of it out towards the human.
No. They fail.
Yeah, and then so
they're going to take 3d6.
Yeah.
13.
They
grip
have
their head.
1d4 from next saving throw. So if y'all have saving throw things.
Right.
I do.
Anya.
I'm within 60 feet now of the person, right?
Yes, or at least you could easily move up.
Alright. I move my 30 feet, raise Fourth Testament, and the ring on her finger that's touching the gun barrel, or the gun, flares. And I'm going to spend a grit point to make it a Deadeye shot, which gives me advantage, and a grit point to make it a winging shot, which if it hits, it makes a strength saving throw or is knocked prone. So, with advantage.
That's going to hit.
Damage, and then it needs to make a strength saving throw against DC 17. And it also takes 8 points of cold damage.
I'm going to roll the d4 just because they fail it. Yeah, they super fail.
Yes.
So they're knocked prone.
Yep. No, I have advantage because they're prone, and I don't have the range disadvantage. So I'll take a second shot. They're still alive, I assume.
No. You are flat. You don't have disadvantage.
But you do.
Only in
You're like-
melee. Only in melee do you get advantage.
Oh, only in melee?
Yeah.
All right, fine.
That's just
fine,
getting
I
rid of
guess.
the disadvantage at range.
All right. Well,
Hit.
takes 14 more.
Ah.
And my third attack then.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Pretty hard for you to miss.
It is. Plus another 14 damage. Is it still alive?
They're still up, although not with a lot.
All right. I'll shoot it with my bonus action. I will give it sharpshooter, but I will also use another deadeye shot to give it advantage.
Sure.
So this will be advantage, but -5, but plus 10 damage.
That'll hit. 5, yeah.
So it does.
30 hits? You don't say.
It's only 25. So 22 damage.
Okay. How do you kill them?
Woo!
I don't want to kill them. I want to put them into a state of making saving throws, death saves. So like these shots, just the first one, Fourth Testament, like the cold blast cut like into their leg and they fall to the ground, and then 2 more just catch the Inquisitor in the side, and then the fourth one just like hits it in the temple, but the bullet just like scatters against the skull to knock them out instead of killing them outright.
Sure. They are down and bleeding out.
Sure, that's fine. And I'm not close enough to. How far away am I from them?
If you moved a full 30 feet, you would be.
How far? Sorry, I missed it.
20 feet.
Okay. Yeah, then I will just continue in that direction and watch the snakes that I assume that everybody else is about to claim up.
Right. Well, you don't move at all because you have already moved. Good to know.
Sure.
Rudy. This figure, which had just struck you, is now just blown to smithereens. They're lying. They're clearly not dead. They're still breathing, but like they're bleeding from several pike wounds, several gunshots, and they're like unconscious, not going to get up anytime soon. They will die without significant aid.
Yeah. So for first, I think are the rest of the snakes are looking pretty, or I'm not even in like close range of the snakes. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only 4 of them, and
Mhm.
one of them is pretty injured. It's pretty likely you think that Felipe and Adoren will be able to mop them up.
Yeah, so I'm as my bonus action, I'm just going to come out of the rage, and I am going to try to stabilize this person that we have knocked unconscious.
Go ahead and make
So it'd be a medicine.
Yep, medicine check. Yeah, crushed it. Your quick, deft Garrik hands begin bandaging wounds, trying to make sure that they're not going to bleed out, but also not resuscitate them immediately. I'm going to roll a d4 to see how long it takes them to get back up. It's going to take them an hour. That's Felipe. There's just the 4 ones left, one of which is.
Oh, it's my turn now?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, you got it. Okay. So I will step up to the first one, still in the Blade Song. And I'll just take an attack at it with my spear. Doubt it.
That is going to side creature.
All right. Second attack. I'll try again. Boy.
That one's going to hit. 13 is the magic number for these fire snakes. I think that.
Oh, okay, great. All right, fantastic.
All right.
So it's not all acid. It would be, 5 piercing, 2 acid damage.
Yep. So you stab down the magic from your ring, again coating the blade of the spear. I guess we're seeing this kind of as the audience seeing this for the first time, coating the blade of the spear with this acid, caustic, and you attack the one that's already been wounded once, and it, as acid begins to burn away at its frame, starting from where the wound was. One of
and after that, I will use whatever movement I have left to just sort of flow over next to Adoren and kind of like just back to back square up, like spear sort of like layered over the forearm like this, pointing at the next one.
Okay. One of them is going to attempt to attack you, Felipe. Do they have to miss for Sentinel? It's been a while.
If they attack me, nothing happens with Sentinel. If they attack someone next to me, then I can hit them.
No, I know, but you both have it, so I'm just trying to.
Oh, it's not when it misses. I think it's when they make an attack.
When they make an attack against a target other than you.
Yeah, so putting them together, they have that nice little.
If they attack either of us, the other one will get to.
I've already used mine. We're gonna use it again.
Was it last round or was it this round?
He's next, so they haven't gone again. So it doesn't matter.
I think I could use it if they attack.
Right, but they are attacking you, Felipe.
Bring it.
Hitting and missing finally for one.
Cool. Yeah.
You're gonna take 9 points of damage as it bites you with its. Is then going to be Adoren's turn.
So these things get on my nerves. So to the one that what's it called? The one that is attacking Felipe, I'm going to make an attack on it. And also I realized that I should have been hitting because I have the feature, what's it called? Improved Divine Smite, and I'm not sure about it because it says Divine Smite, but it says on all your melee weapon strike, they carry divine power with them. So I don't think I have to do Divine Strike to do it, but I'm not entirely sure.
Let me double check. Read this. Oh no, they should take an extra D8 every hit. So we've been shortchanging you.
No, I can't believe you. I'm joking. Anyway, I'm gonna.
I had never fully read that. I thought it was just an extra D8 to the smite.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna attack the one that attacked Felipe.
That's gonna hit.
As it should. And damage.
So then go ahead and roll a D8 as well. I'll work that into the thing automatically for you in the next session.
I can't read.
So 17. Okay. You stab down on this one. It immediately becomes bloodied. So, however, it is still up.
Well, it better be ready because I'm going at it again.
Right. That's going to hit. You can roll damage, but it's almost certainly going to die. And then a D8 as well. Yeah, more than enough to kill it. You stab down it in a burst of radiance, you kind of catch its head as it the pike just piercing all the way through it. There are just 2 left at this.
And I'm for like a free action. I'm gonna
Okay.
stare at them.
There you go. As one of them is going to then attack Adoren. Felipe, if you would like to, you could make
I would love
the
to.
sentinel attack.
Yeah, beat his ass.
Sweet. 14 is enough.
14 is enough to hit.
Beautiful. Oh, hate to see it. Hate to see it.
You've really had cursed dice this session.
Except for that cone of cold, which was all I really needed them for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Helpful as hell.
Right. You do stab down on this, and it is damaged a little bit. The hidden figure is dead. Dell, the battlefield has quieted significantly. There's just the 2 still up that Adoren and Felipe are tackling with. They seem to have it in good order. They're just like trying to pin these last 2 down. What are you doing?
You said that hidden figure was dead, but just meant downed, right?
They're down, yeah. I'm dead as in out of combat.
All right. Felipe, are you still looking bloodied? Or are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, Dell is going to turn to these last 2 fire snakes. And he's not wasting a spell slot on this. He is casting a... How far are they away from him?
You move 40,
yeah.
40 feet.
Yeah. So he just moves, about 15 feet closer, and then from his staff, a sort of faint kind of shimmer appears, like it's crawling up, like almost like a ribbon. And I'm not even going to finish narrating that because it was a 1.
Whips him in his own face.
Yeah,
Your
that's
whip
exactly
just
what
takes a chunk out of that big rock, but it looks very cool.
Dell just sighs quietly and shakes his head, and he doesn't even bother to heal anyone with nope. You'll be fine.
You spend the rest of your turn looking disappointed.
Yes.
Anya.
My first question is: do I regain a grit point for taking down this person?
You do, yes.
Last turn. Okay. I forgot that I had to double check that it was at your discretion. And Anya looks down, feels the weight of her guns being empty, deposits 1 and quick draws its replacement, and I'll just make 3 attacks at the remaining 2 snakes. This gun is plated in copper. It's very pretty. I'll walk close enough to be within 60 feet, which I think I can now.
Yeah, for sure.
So against the first one, and then against that one again if it's still alive. I'm glad I got the critical just for the grit point. Seems unnecessary, but the grit point is useful.
You kill the remaining 2 between those 3 shots.
Could have probably piercing shot to try and hit them both, but yeah, Anya just raises the gun and shoots 3 times, and then seeing that the 2 are dead, gives a little gun wave to the 2 standing back to back, and is already reaching into her pouch to pull some bullets and put them into that gun.
Right. The battlefield falls silent. Just the remainder, some of the barely alive fire snakes wriggling slightly, probably being stabbed down by the spear and pike of Felipe and Adoren. The person now standing in front of, or rather, lying half dead in front of Rudy, breathing weakly, you kind of kick their longsword away from them. So.
We should make sure that they have no other gems or magical items and bind their hands so they cannot do the casting.
Yeah, roll them.
Yeah, we just search them and take everything off them that looks even remotely magical.
Everything.
Yep.
And
Anyone want this
while
sword?
Anya looks at it with significant disdain, unless it has a Cordal symbol on it, in which case she'll take it.
As you you bind their hands, you kind of search through them. You can make a religion check.
Is that all of us?
Yeah, anybody who's standing there,
Okay.
they would like to do so. Wow.
Nice.
Thankfully, as you guys are looking at this, it's not actually something that they have, but it's on their sword. As you're walking over, Adoren like glances down and looks at it, and you recognize the symbol of dark god Saliel on the sword. This seems to be a cultist effect. They look otherwise like a normal human. They could clearly cast some magic, and when they did so, their eyes flashed a bluish color. The sword might be magical. You're not sure if it's the sword doing the force damage or it was them. You do an Arcana check to try to figure that out. They have a couple healing potions on them, which you can take if you would like. One regular and one greater, which they did not get a chance to use. They are wearing a breastplate now, you see, but that appears to just be all about it. Doran, you kind of look at the sword. It's very finely crafted. It's made out of silver, but you can't tell if it's inherently magical.
Okay. So
I'll give it a whirl. Not too much better.
I'm gonna turn to the party and I'm gonna be like, Adoran's gonna say, it appears he's gonna like have the sword in his hand and like it appears we have some sort of cultist from what was the god's name?
A Saliel. I'll put it.
Saliel. And that's a dark god if I remember correctly. So they are definitely not supposed to be here.
Yeah, that's bad.
Anya recoils from the name Saliel. Like it is makes her viscerally uncomfortable.
If you give me 10 minutes, I can identify that sword top to bottom, but maybe we should drag our friend here back inside the monastery and hunker down.
Anya is in her hands. She's pulled out like a tinker's toolkit, and is I want to make something that essentially locks the fingers so that they can't do any somatic components of spells.
Okay.
And Rudy is good to scoop our victim up and keep a tight grip while things need to happen.
They are well and truly bound. Their hands completely unusable. As you all kind of collect yourselves and go into this small monastery. It is going to take an hour for them to wake up. If you are going to wait that long, that is enough time to take a short rest. If you would like to.
I will, before I start resting with everybody, I'll say, everybody just pick a spot in the middle of the floor, and Felipe will prop his spear up next to him and sit cross-legged, and I will start casting Liamun's tiny hut. And I'll give us all a quiet space to rest in. Ignore that I cast it at their level. I'm going to ritual cast it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Anya is always taken with the craftsmanship of your Leomund's tiny hut. It's always very pretty.
Yeah, I imagine that there's a lot of like fractals sort of building out this dome, almost in this like strange sci-fi sort of way. It's very meticulous, it's very proper, but it's also like it sort of like flows together, like water dripping upward into this dome.
You cast Layman's Tiny Hut as everybody kind of sits down. You do have enough time to take a look at the longsword as well, identifying it. It seems to be a +1 silvered longsword. The force damage you suspect was an ability of the now bound person, innate to the.
I will
But
relay
it is
that
enchanted.
to the group. Yeah, I will relay that to the group in case anyone wants a +1 longsword.
Dell just chuckles again.
Just felt polite.
Anya is wondering how bad things would go for her if she touched her symbol of Caudal to the sword of Zaliel, but won't do it because, of course, she won't. But she's just like, would like I lose an arm? Is that how bad that would go? No, she doesn't.
Loud.
No, I think she's very contemplatively thinking about like the fact that she's in a space with like what might be a holy symbol of a very evil god.
Okay, I will do no goading then.
Do roll hit dice if you are short resting in two.
I forgot to select that. Dang it.
As you are taking this moment to rest up, you wait, and eventually this person they fully awaken, looking at you all. You stare down at them, and that's where we're going to end today's session. We are just about that time, considering that we started later than normal. We will pick up. You guys can ask them whichever questions you think of during the break at the top of next. Thanks everybody for coming. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a pretty good session. And we're going to be back same time, maybe a little bit earlier. I'll have to double check. Definitely the same place. And of course, I will post a link in the Discord when we go live as usual. We are a little bit behind on the VODs, but I'm working to get because we did the extra session, I'm working to get those up shortly. Hopefully before we do the next main.
There was no art for them until today anyway. So even if you put them up, there'd be no art.
I've been preparing for this game, and then I fell slacked a little bit on getting all those processed. But again, thanks everyone for coming. See you next week.
Bye, y'all.